Hello and welcome back to the show where I read all of the bad articles and watch all the bad videos so you don't have to. Today's excrement comes from Kix Entertainment, a website that decided to name itself after a kind of cereal that I used to eat as a small child. And I can't be the only one who has a weird association between Kix and Clifford the Big Red Dog. But despite reading like it was written in the early 2010s, this was actually published on July 8th. Like the July that was like 9 months ago. And for that reason, I just couldn't resist. Within the gaming world, the debate... Wait, hang on. I have to make sure this actually is. Making sure I'm absolutely right about the date that it came out. Because otherwise it's going to make this whole charade I just went on really awkward.
Marker.
Yep, July 8th, 2021. Yeah, I was right. All right, I don't take it back. Never mind. Within the gaming world, the debate over whether it is better to play games on a console or a PC has raged on for years. And with the announcement that the PS4 and Xbox One are to be launched soon... Beginning the new generation of gaming, the debate is hotter than ever. It seems, however, that the excitement over the new consoles is leaving the PC by the wayside somewhat, meaning consoles will finally be emerging as the potential victors. Here is why. I am pretty sure whoever published this article just ripped it from someone else's website, but I'm gonna keep going anyways. Cause holy shit, if that's what you did, fuck you. I've heard of lazy, but whoa. Either that or you published this article years ago and just decided to republish it, in which case, fuck you. That's also the definition of lazy. Or number 3, you are actually this wrong. Regardless of what's going on here, I'm responding to this article because yikes. Purpose. One of the main reasons why consoles win out over PCs is the very fact that they are produced for the sole purpose of gaming. Being able to play certain video games is a bonus feature on a PC, never intended to be its primary function, whereas all the design and development effort behind the console is tailored around making the gaming experience as good as possible. Even the games themselves are often designed using the console's technology before being ported over to the PC at a later date. Ooh. Yogurt makes me hiccup. I had a few things to say here. Let's just go through this. Consoles are produced for the sole purpose of gaming. Little awkward because they don't do gaming very well compared to the PC, which, as you highlight, is not even its primary focus or its primary intention, which is a really weird way of saying you can do way more with a PC than you can with a console. The PC is just far more functional. There are more things you can do with it. And yes, even though the PC wasn't designed as a video game system, that doesn't hinder the performance at all. I had a whole gag here about nuclear bombs and microwaves and how like nuclear energy wasn't designed to heat up burritos in 60 seconds, but it sure does do that well. And I completely just I was just rambling for like 45 seconds and none of it was funny. So I'm cutting all of it out and just putting this here. Okay, back to the video.
Marker.
Price. While the games themselves are often cheaper on a PC, purchasing a decent system that is capable of running them at full capacity is going to set you back a lot more than a console. Also, as consoles become older and newer generations become available, they generally see a fall in price, making them more affordable, because apparently PC prices never go down. Apparently other technology parts never go down in price over time. Current PCs, meanwhile, generally remain around the same price bracket, or are discontinued after a short time, replaced by new models that are in fact more expensive than their predecessor. Wow, that almost sounds like the beefy versions of the consoles. Purchasing the software required to run many games on PC and other consoles, whatever. By this logic, you have no problem with the PS4 Pro or Xbox One X or like other enhanced version of consoles. By this logic, you have no problem with that, because apparently it's only bad when PC does it. But here's the thing. Started out friends. It was cool when it was all pretend. PS4, $300. I don't know if this is right, but just for the sake of argument, PS4, $300. PS4 Pro, $400. A little more than double the original price. So if in your eyes, if that's okay, then my PC, which is theoretically worth $1,000. By this logic, a little more than double the cost of my machine is acceptable for hardware upgrades. Now, I want you to imagine the amount of hardware upgrades you could get done with $1,000 on a PC. The argument I'm making here, which is it's not coming together verbally as well as I thought it was in my head, but the point I'm making here is A, it's not a good thing for your hardware to be locked into one configuration for X locked amount of years. That's just not a good thing. B, if you're okay with upgraded consoles, you have to be okay with upgradable PCs, which is all of them. And C, the cost of upgrade per dollar on the PC is so much better than on console. Like what you're getting for your hardware upgrades, dollar to dollar, versus the console, is so much better. Although that does transition to a weird topic of, are there going to be upgraded 9th gen consoles, like a PS5 Pro, an Xbox Series XX? Oh my god, that sounds terrible. Personally, I don't know if they're going to do upgraded versions. It's definitely not going to be for a while. There were some leaks that came out a while back about a PS5 Pro, I think, but I don't see that coming out anytime soon. Not until the consoles are a little more widespread in terms of availability. They're going to do what they always do. They're going to milk the market dry, get as many PS5s in people's hands as possible, and then once everyone who's going to buy a PS5 has pretty much bought a PS5, then you drop the Pro version and be like, boom, we got your money twice. Fuck. I hate the console market. I really do. It's terrible. Range. While generally speaking, a PC system is standard, there are a huge range of game consoles available on the market these days, each with their own distinguishable characteristics and advantages. From the PS3 and Xbox 360 to those who love online play and beautifully advanced graphics to the Nintendo 3DS and PlayStation Vita. This article was not written by you on the date that you stamped it on. For those who love to play while on the move, and the Wii for those who love to get involved and immerse themselves in the gameplay. That is a weird description of the Wii. There really is something for everyone. And something for everyone is a link to something else for some reason. I really am too scared to click it. Oh boy, the PC system is standard. That's a weird way to describe it in comparison to a system that literally doesn't change hardware ever. Like, that's just a bizarre comparison. What you're describing here are just different kinds of players. And yes, obviously, the difference between a handheld console and like a PC or a home console, that's pretty different. If you want to make the range argument, like the topic of this section, I guess handhelds, you got us there until the Steam Deck comes out at least. But if you're trying to talk about like how there are so many different consoles and therefore so much variety in the games on console, you're just kind of wrong. Because there's so many genres that just barely exist. MMOs, RTSs, simulators, the indie market, just blanket statement, the indie market. So when you talk about range on PC versus console, I mean, other than the existence of handhelds, I really don't see your argument at all in any capacity. Potential errors. One of the hailed benefits of PC gaming is the ability for experienced players to access game files in other various settings, enhancing and changing the game in a number of ways, commonly referred to as modding. The problem with this is that systems often crash. Game files can be damaged beyond repair. Just reinstall it, or just run the repair thing. Like, every fucking game has this option to repair files, and in trying to make a game better, they in fact render in unplayable. Nice. Such risks are not as prevalent with consoles, as their files are less susceptible to hacking and changes. Okay, if you don't want to dabble in mods, which is a giant chunk of the PC community, this section doesn't apply to you. But if you do want to dabble in mods, you go in assuming the risks. You go into the modding world knowing that everything is third party, and there's risks involved with downloading random things that other people on the internet made. Now, are most mods completely fine? Yeah, most mods are completely fine. Because aside from the fact that most people are generally not awful, there's also usually systems in place to reduce the amount of, bugged mods or virus mods that get out on the market. Doesn't mean they're not there. Obviously, they're always going to be there. That's the nature of an open market. But what I'm saying is you assume the risks going into modding. So this point really doesn't even make a whole lot of sense. There's assumed risk in a lot of things, and people are fine with it because generally speaking, the outcome is better than the assumed risk that you're likely not even going to encounter, at least in the instance of modding. And again, as for the game files can be damaged beyond repair, just reinstall the game. That's it. Problem solved. But I like how you wrap this up saying that such risks are not as prevalent with consoles as their files are less susceptible to hacking and changes. That's a good way of saying you have less options with the stuff you buy. Again, this is a really weird way to spin a lack of options on your platform. Just doesn't make it just doesn't make sense to me. If you don't like modding, don't indulge. And if you do like modding, have at it. Drink responsibly. And number 5 on this list, accessibility. Many people these days do not even own desktop PCs, preferring the lightweight portable laptop instead. Okay, play games on that. It's really easy. The repercussion of this in terms of gaming is that most laptops simply do not have the technical capabilities to play high quality video games that could rival those available on console. But not everyone wants to play high quality, visual video game. I assume you're talking about visually high quality. But yeah, not everyone wants to play games like that on their laptop. I have Binding of Isaac on my laptop. I have some old emulators on my laptop. I have Broforce on my laptop, which, by the way, Broforce is fucking fun. Play it. This is a misconception that a lot of console gamers make, that like, oh, not all PC games can hit the top of top great graphics or match my super realistic graphics, all the while completely forgetting the fact that a lot of people just aren't shooting for that same standard. A lot of people just don't want a computer that powerful. A lot of people just don't play games that are that requiring of a high-level computer. That's part of the great variety available on the PC. There's just so much variety in the games available to you. And depending on the kind of gamer that you are and the kind of games that you play, yeah, you don't need to buy parts for super realistic graphics. Anyway, that's the end of the article. Let's see, about the author, Kix. Welcome to Kix P. We aim to provide great value content and resources on every single visit. Space! ! I am not robot, am real person. If you have a tip or would like us to write content covering a particular topic/subject, get in touch via contact form. Well, let's take a look at that contact form. There we go. That sounds about right. Toodles.